Hello everyone, my name is Jen and welcome to the Book Refuge. Hello my friends and welcome to another Taboo romance recommendation video, and this is Breeding Kink round 3, by the way. I've made this video I think once every year for the past few years. I don't know, I can't remember when they were spaced out, but it's been almost a whole year since I've made it, and I couldn't decide what Taboo one I wanted to do. And it's funny because I don't even think this one is as taboo as we maybe think it is, and it definitely gets brought up a lot more these days than it used to, which is funny to me a lot, because it's in a lot more like contemporary books that aren't even dark anymore. But it also exists enough in dark romance as well as like fantasy romance or books where we need to breed for an heir and stuff like that. So we're going to go through that. Now, as we go through these, I will tell you which ones don't have a baby in them, because there are a few in here where there's breeding kink for a baby, but like there isn't a baby in the book, because I know not everyone wants there to necessarily be a pregnancy within it. So most of these do have that because that's the point of it, but some of them don't. So if there's somewhere you like want to read breeding kink but without there being a baby, we have some of those for you. So again, I have made this 2 other times, so I will link those other videos up here if you want to read some more of them. But yeah, this has definitely become a pretty popular kink to put in even kind of regular books. So we're just going to go through this list, because one that I just read the other day, this book just came out, is one I thought I would share that has it, and that's actually Waiting on You by Nikki Ash. Now, this one does have a baby because this one is a secret pregnancy, but yeah, it's really funny because yeah, so anyway, so this is the 3rd book in the Love and Whiskey series. They're all standalones. They work as standalones. And this one we have our heroine who goes to London for a wedding. Her boyfriend actually lives in London. They've been doing it long distance for a little while, and they're going to be going to this wedding together there. And of course, she shows up at his place and he's fucking someone. And I gotta say, I get really, really sick of that. Like, just don't have them be in a relationship at the beginning then. You know what I mean? Like, have it already have happened, because the number of books that we have to catch the person cheating on us so that it proves that the heroine doesn't have to feel guilty for hooking up with someone right away just gets annoying to me. But anyway, I'm not holding that against Nikki Ash because it's a very common thing, but it also didn't help that I'd read like multiple books in a row that all start with either the hero or the heroine discovering someone cheating. And I'm like, just have it, like, whatever. That's not the only way people break up. People don't only break up because someone's banging someone else. Anyway, sorry, that was a side rant I didn't mean. But anyway, so she's in London for this, and so she goes to the hotel she's going to be staying at, and her room, I think, isn't like ready yet. And then she runs into this guy kind of, I think, in the lobby or in the elevator, something like that. And they have this cute little interaction together. And by the time she goes to check in again, she discovers that her room has been upgraded and she's literally in like a penthouse suite there. And secrets be, the reason is the hero she ran into, his family actually owns the hotel that she's in. And he doesn't tell her that, but they tell her like, oh, we're still charging the amount for your small room. This is our fault. We're happy to upgrade you. Da, da, da. So now she's staying in this beautiful room. And she runs into him again that night at like the bar in the hotel. And they end up chatting a little bit, and they decide to spend the few days together that she's there. She's like, I'm not looking for anything when we get home. I don't want to do a long distance relationship with someone. I don't want any of that. I just want to have fun this weekend. And she isn't planning to sleep with him because of that. She's like, I don't want to just do that. But the hero, he's very into her. Nate is his name. We have Nate and Paige. And he wants to use that time to prove like he's really into her. And he does know that they both live in Texas, but she doesn't want to know where he lives, doesn't want to talk about it, doesn't want to hear it, doesn't want it. And anytime he tries to say more about who he is, she doesn't want to hear, because she's like, I don't want to be tempted to look you up. I'm sorry, but like, this is just going to be fun for the weekend. To the point that it's almost annoying that she's being that like that. But where the breeding kink comes in is when they do finally have sex, he does like enter her without a condom. And then he's like, oh my gosh, tell me I don't have to pull out. And she's like, I'm not on anything. You do have to. And he's like, okay. But when we're in his POV, we know how much he doesn't want to. Now, he doesn't break her trust or do anything. He shouldn't. But they are using the pull-out method without any condoms there. And even with him, you know, honoring and respecting what she has asked, he definitely has some visions in his head of, I want to see this girl again. I should knock her up. Like, he's thinking those things. So just warning you, he's thinking them, but he doesn't do that. However, when she gets home, she discovers she's pregnant. And the worst thing ever is, right, she was so careful not to learn anything about him because she didn't want to be tempted to call him when she got home. He'd even tried to leave his number and she threw it away. And now she is fucked because she has no way to look him up, nothing to go on. And she's pregnant. So it's set up in the way where, like, you're not, like, super mad he didn't know. But anyway, we're talking about the breeding king part of it. They have that in the beginning. Once they get back together again too, you know, she's now pregnant with his baby and they're going to make it work. And he's like, I literally had dreams of you being pregnant with my child. This is amazing. And even when they're having some pregnant sex too, he now is like, now I don't even have to pretend to pull out, because, or he doesn't pretend. You'll get it. If you read it, you mean it. He doesn't pretend to pull out. But pulling out has led to many surprise pregnancies in people's lives. I'm sure you maybe know someone in your own life that that's happened to as well. Okay, now, of course, we have some dark ones in here. And we have, I love this one so much. We have Surrender by Sam Mariano, or it was Sophie Surrender is what it was called before. This is a part of the Coastal Elite. This one is number 4. And this one is crazy. This one ends up with Sylvan ends up kind of kidnapping our heroine and not letting her leave his home and wanting to get her pregnant so she can't ever leave him. And even his father is telling the girl, like, if you ever want to leave my son, things won't go well for you. Like, that level of crazy we have going on, right? So, yeah, beware of this guy for sure, because he's nuts. But it's, I mean, and to answer, he does succeed by the end of this one. So this one does have pregnancy in it. Okay, then we have honestly a whole series from this author, because when I was making this list, so in my place where I track all my books, I put all the tropes and I put all the kinks. So when I want to make a video like this, I just pull up those spreadsheets, Control F, and I can search for the kink that I want to look up. And this author, I believe every book I've read from her has this kink in it, but I picked which my favorite one was to share. But just know, every book I've read in this has it. They also have usually somnophilia. They also usually have some dubcon or things like that. So these books are definitely dark and they're full of the kinks. And that's going to be S. Massery. So the first one I ever read from her was Secret Obsession, because of what the tropes were. So this one is hockey goalies are known to be obsessive, but none so much as my ex's brother. So this is the one where it's the, like, he saw her first, but his older brother ended up dating her. And they were very much like casual, almost just like fuck buddies. And when they finally break up, the younger brother's like, it's my time. And so he also has a lot of anger stored up because his brother was never super serious about her. And his brother also knew how much he liked her. So it's really the brother who's a dick in this situation, in my opinion. Just saying. And now that the younger brother is like, I am going for her, I want her, there's now the thing of like, well, this is my ex's brother, I can't be with him. When it was really like, you were meant to be with him, but his older brother got in the way first. So who is really the asshole in this situation? But yeah, he is super into her. There's also a lot of like, there's suspense plot through these. There's usually a stalker or something dangerous happening in them as well. So this one has like, there's a murder involved in here. There's covering up bodies involved in here. But yeah, this series is also so full of kinks, man. Like, it's a whole thing. So yeah, this one has non-consent, somnophilia, blood and knife play, dubious consent, emotional and physical bullying, and some breeding kink too. Because yeah, I don't believe they get pregnant in that one. So I can't remember it fully. All right, then we have, let's do a lighter one again. We have Stay With Me by Brooke Montgomery. This one is super hot. I love this couple so much. Oh, it's so pretty. So pretty. Okay, so this one is book 2 in the Stay With Me. This is a best friend's brother standalone, and this isn't one of the twins. This is one of the younger brothers. This one is Magnolia and Trip, and they've been into each other for a long time, but it's her best friend's brother, and she's also been dating kind of this jerk for a good part of her life. And she's finally broken up with this guy, and things might happen with Trip, maybe, kind of. But Trip, he doesn't believe that he deserves a happily ever after for reasons, so he's very reluctant to make a move on her. But everybody knows that these two are meant to be together. However, I believe it's on her birthday, she has a one night stand with her ex, and she gets pregnant during that. So now she starts dating Trip, it works out. She starts dating Trip, and then she discovers she's pregnant, and that it's gonna be what's his name's. So yeah, unfortunately, this is another not his baby situation, right? But what is really hot, and why this one is like a, breeding kink, is that while she is pregnant, there's a lot of him being like, I'm gonna knock you up twice. Like, I'm gonna knock you up and make you mine. Like, I don't care if this isn't my baby, like, you're mine. So there's still a lot of breeding kink happening even while she's already pregnant, which is hot because he's not gonna be pulling out or anything with those. So lots of that going on as well. Okay, then we have Dom by S.J. Tilly. S.J. Tilly puts also breeding kink in a lot of the ones that she does. But yeah, this one is this one could also fit in like forced marriage, but I usually put it in Married in Vegas. So this is a Married in Vegas one, but we have Val and Dom, and just to like get it all out there, Dom is someone who actually wants to be a part of the alliance. So that's what this series is called. It's an alliance of different like mafia dons and mafia guys. And he's always been rejected from it because they don't want him. But Dom discovers that one of the heads of the alliance has a half sister named Val, who's really like, she was actually the daughter of a mistress of his father. And so he doesn't, King's half sister, I think. And he doesn't, hate his younger sister or anything, but he doesn't have anything really to do with her. However, Dom is still going to try to use her for his purposes. So he ends up accidentally running into her when she's in Vegas with some friends and accidentally having a fling with her. Now it's first off, they sit by each other on an airplane. That happens. They sit by each other on an airplane, and it was accidentally. And then there is another, like, something serious between them. And then they end up meeting in Vegas at a different time, and they end up getting married. But what she doesn't know is that it isn't so accidental on his part. So we'll say that. And when they have sex, he definitely wants to be knocking his woman up. That's just how S.J. Tilly writes the men. Just true. Okay, then we have All My Love by Daisy Jane. Daisy Jane is also someone who puts breeding kink in almost everything. There's lots of fluids and things in her books, I'll just say. But yeah, this one is her, this is book 1 in the Twisted Sister series, and I like this one. The heroine is the stalker. She's much younger than the hero, who's a single dad, who's also her neighbor, and she's actually been in love with him since she was like 16, but she knew he would never be with her when she was that young, and so she's bided her time. She's waited. She's now, I believe she's like 21 or 22, I don't know, but she's ready to make a move on him. The only thing is, Hudson is currently like dating this woman, but she's willing to be patient because she knows this woman isn't his end game. So it's very interesting because, like I said, it's a stalker where the heroine is, and some of her thoughts, you're like, wow, this girl, she needs help. But she's also so endearing at the same time, and the way that her stalking comes out is in very protective ways, and also in when she sneaks into his house while he's gone during the day and lays in his bed, masturbates with his toothbrush. There's some things, okay? She goes. But once she finally reveals her love for him and proves her love for him, she loves his son, loves him. Now we get real crazy, and she just absolutely loves having him fill her right up. She's like, I'm ready. I'm going to be your baby mama. We're going to make babies to be your son's brothers and sisters. Like, it's going to happen. So it gets wild with these two. Okay, this was the first ever romance I read that had fisting in it. Yes, it did. And it was also super hot. Like, there's no other way to explain it, okay? The way that Daisy Jane builds you up to that, because of course we're not just shoving a whole fist up there like without a thought, okay? There's preparation going on. But the way that it happens is so hot, you're just like, whoa, what am I reading? You know, and Daisy Jane does that a lot. She makes me say that a lot. Whoa, what am I reading? You know? I will again mention the Wraith King. I know I talked about this in another video recently, but this one also has breeding kink for a purpose. They're trying to make an heir. So this is a forced marriage between Gull, the king of like the dark fae, and then Una, who is a princess. And to save innocent lives, she has to marry the Wraith King. He makes a deal that he won't hurt her people if she marries him. And they actually have their consummation ceremony. It involves like trying to breed for an heir, and it's semi-voyeur, like semi-public situation. It's very hot, but also like it's intense. It's great. But yeah, this one has both the forced marriage I mentioned before and breeding kink, and definitely a very dominant hero. And there's also like dragons involved. It's great. Okay, now we have a few more here. There is Silver Foxed by Kayla Gross. Now this is one of the ones where there's no babies that come from this, and they don't want to have babies. They just like the breeding kink. So this is a novella between a woman and her dad. I think it's her dad's business partner. And she had been told by her mom that she could stay at like the beach house for the weekend. And he had been told by the dad, his friend, that he could use the beach house to clear his mind for the weekend too. So they both show up there. Now the hero's plan, when he sees that she's there, he's like, oh my gosh, I don't want to impose. This is your family's house. Let me go. And she's always been kind of attracted to him. And now he's here for the weekend. And so she's like, no, you don't have to go. You can stay. And she definitely eggs him into having a little something with her. And again, she enjoys a breeding kink, but she is like fully protected. She's like, I don't want to have a baby, but I really want you to fill me up and I want us to pretend. So they do some role play for it, which is great. I love some role play for breeding kink as well. Another one that is kind of fun is Well Bred by A. Anders, which this one literally has Bred in the cover, or the title of it. And this one's kind of interesting because it is the heroine wants to have a baby. She's in her, I think she's 40s, and she'd wanted to have kids with her husband. He ended up, I think, being a cheater, or he left her. It was one of those. But anyway, he's like left her. She owns her own business, and she actually has a brother who's in jail. And this man who used to be in jail with her brother, he comes in to be like a cook at her restaurant. And her brother had kind of sent him there to look out for her because he owes him a favor. And our heroine is like cool with it. And then he ends up finding out that she's starting like fertility treatments and she's going to try to get pregnant. She's going to use some of her savings for that because she's like, my husband didn't want a baby with me. And she's also like, I probably would have been raising the baby on my own anyway. So let's just do it. But when our hero finds out, he's like, well, I'm supposed to help you however I can. So how about I help you with this? So for I believe he's going to be there for like 3 months before he's like moving to take a job. Like he's helping her out for the interim. They end up agreeing that during her fertile times, he will fuck her and try to get her pregnant. But she comes up with all these rules that like, you're not going to try to make me come. You're not going to try to do this. Like, you're just going to breed me and go. And he doesn't take to that very well for very long because he's like, if we're going to do this, we're going to have fun while we do it. So that one's good. All right, then there is Married to the Devil by Lillian Lark. This one also has breeding for a purpose. We even have kind of like a fertility treatment to help stimulate it in a magical version. So this is actually an MMF between a demon, a gargoyle, and a witch. And the witch and the gargoyle are the ones who are married. And the demon is kind of invited into the marriage for reason. It's difficult to explain. I don't have the time to explain that one, but there's reasons. And the heroine, if her and the gargoyle get pregnant or having a baby, it will solidify their match. It will solidify their power as a head of like this clan. And so they need to try to do that. And the thing is with this magic, they're able to like amplify her fertility. And then we go about breeding time. And it is supposed to be, of course, the gargoyle, but you know, when you have two penises hanging out, things can happen. So I'll just leave it with that. But this was a really great one. I loved it, particularly because of, not only because it was MMF, but how the MMF was handled in here, because the gargoyle, he very much wants to keep things as, like, he wants his partners to be enamored with him, but he very much wants to protect his heart. And so part of letting this demon Ben into their relationship is to have him provide kind of the more comforting, soft parts that the heroine needs. And the gargoyle guy, Remy, can be like the demanding, powerful, like, head of it. And Ben can be like the soft comfort side of it. But, you know, he's going to have to work a little harder than that. You can't just do that and expect it to work out perfectly, right? But that's part of the journey of the book. Like, it's not going to be as simple as he thinks, and his heart is going to get involved. And yeah, you have to risk something when that happens, you know? So, very interesting. And then there is Filthy Savage, which is also one I've been mentioning a lot lately. And part of the reason I want to say is that when this book released on the 7th, this is one I read an arc for, and I really loved it. And Amazon decided to remove the book after a day. And it was like Lillian Harris's best release she'd had. And they just took her book down for a stupid reason. And so now it's back out, and we're really trying to get her book back to up to where it was when it released. And this one is a mafia romance, and the hero and the heroine had a one-night stand, and she finds out she's pregnant. She has no way to contact him. It also might not be his baby, because she had been sleeping with her boyfriend up until her boyfriend cheated on her. So it could be his as well. And then when he finds her again and she has a little girl, he's like, I don't care if the little girl's mine or not, I want her. But the next children that we have, I'm going to know that they're mine. And he goes about starting to get her pregnant, this time with a baby he knows is his. Again, he will consider the little girl his as well, but he wants to, it's not because he needs a baby that for sure is his blood. It's because he wants to be there for her pregnancy, and he wasn't there before. So he wants to be there this time, which, you know, whatever. So he forces her into marrying him and goes about fucking her senseless, because maybe she won't try to leave him if he's keeping her filled with orgasms all the time. So there we go. So anyway, those are some books with breeding kink for you. Let me know what your favorites are. Again, I've made 2 other videos of this, as well as I have an entire playlist of taboo romance recommendations. So if there's a taboo or a kink that you're interested in, I probably have a video for it. And if I don't have a video for it, it's probably because it's a kink that I'm really not interested in making a video about. But you're welcome still to request any kinks that you want. I have a form down below where you can request a video or a topic or anything. And yeah, we will see you in the next one, everybody. Bye.